And we are back with another episode of Game Time Chat. This weekend, I'm going to work on trying to get a jingle in here for that introduction, spice it up a little bit. But this is episode 5 of Game Time Chat, and we got some good things to talk about. We'll get into the draft a little bit later, but we'll start off just by congratulating all those young men who are continuing to, live out their dream and that opportunity to change their lives, their families' lives. And, like I said, just continue to work on their dream. But I wanted to talk about the Olympics that we have coming up and how I think the USA will redeem themselves and bring home the gold. They will still work on completing all of the roster spots. But as it stands right now with the roster spots, of course, we'll start with LeBron, AD, Bam Adebayo, Kawhi, Leonard, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, KD, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton, Stephen Curry, and Devin Booker. Combined, this is a fantastic roster. You have a total of 16 NBA final championships here on the player side, 10 gold medals already from the Olympics. And then as far as the coaching staff goes, you have Steve Kerr, Mark Few, Tyronn Lue, and Eric freaking Spoelstra. This is a great coaching staff. For them, you have 9 player championships between those 4. Mark Few, of course, didn't play, but for the other 3, and 7 total as head coaches. So you have a ton of experience there, and the players that are going to be participating, as well as the coaching staff around them, and just a ton of catalysts here. So 27 total between the players and the coaches as far as the championships go. That's crazy. I don't see how they lose and mess this up. So, yeah, definitely should get the gold and bring that one home. Some other honorable mentions, I would say, and this is just for the opponents that they'll be facing. Sorry, this paper. So you have Germany, of course, and they did win the FIBA. So they won the FIBA in 2023, and then some other squads to look out for. Canada. And, they're going to have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, RJ Barrett, Dylan Brooks, and then over there in Australia, the Aussies, Dante Exum. We saw a bit of him in Dallas. Josh Green, same. And then Josh Giddey, Joe Ingles, and man, Joe is cold. And Patty Mills, and he always shows up and shows out whenever he plays for Team Australia. And then Lou Dort and someone else, a player that I just always like. I love his game, Jordan Clarkson, and he'll be playing for the Philippines. So you have that. So this, and of course you have Luka. He'll be going home too. So there's a few guys in the NBA who will be playing for different teams other than Team USA. And of course, we wish them well. We wish them good luck and a healthy Olympics. The first game for the U.S. is actually July 28th, and they will be playing against Serbia. I forgot the one of the players that are going to be there, but they will be going against, we'll say, one of their own over there in the NBA, and then. Let's talk about that draft. The Pistons did it a freaking again. Gosh dang it. I mean, congrats to that kid, Ron Holland II. But to be honest, I'm not pleased with that pick. A few guys that I spoke about in the last episode were all available when we made that pick at number 5, starting with Deron Holmes II, Denver traded up for him and got him at 22. Dalton Connect, man, people are talking about he was the steal of the draft for the Lakers. And then, of course, Cody Williams, who went to Utah at number 10. So I didn't really know anything about Ron Holland from the G League Ignite. And I almost wish I still didn't. But, he'll be 19 here in a week and some change. 6'8", as far as, his stature, about 200 and something pounds. But from now I had to do some digging. I had to go and find some film, and something that you saw consistently amongst all of his highlights were fast breaks. It seemed like almost every highlight you watched was just him driving to the hole and finishing. And all three of the other guys that I just named, you know what they can do? They can drive to the hole and they can finish. Now, to his credit, Ron Holland, he's very explosive. I will say he is very explosive, very athletic, and looks like he's just a raw talent and a really good finisher. But he shot 24% from three this last year, the 1 year he spent in the G League. And I don't like that number. The Pistons were 25th in the league in 3-point percentage last year. Looks like it's going to be about the same, adding this kid. We're not going to land any big free agents. It's just typically how it goes. Nobody wants to go to Detroit. For Christ's sake, we still don't even have a head coach. So we'll pay attention to that over these, next couple of days. But yeah, 24% from three and 44%, field goal percentage. That's over the course of 14 games. And his team, they went 1-13. And so as far as being a loser goes, he'll fit in just fine. As far as, that he's ready to help turn around the franchise and all of those good things he said in his press conference. But we have guys who can drive and get to the cup. We need people who can shoot, stretch the floor a little bit. Of course, you want to be able to attack the basket as well, and and get there. But everyone's going to be trying to do that because no one can shoot. So for those reasons, I don't like him picked for our team. For someone else, maybe, sure, absolutely sure. But for us, no. 20 points per game and 6.6 rebounds and 3 assists. He, in total, 12 for 50 from the 3-point line. So he really didn't. Gosh, it's just, dude, 24%. Maybe that improves once he gets here. Of course, naturally, you want to see us, from what we could get from this draft, a splash guy. Someone who can come in and make that immediate impact and improvement in the roster. But as it stands right now, I don't see that coming from him. I think we will still be a bottom 3 team next season as the roster stands right now, while adding him after the draft. But you never know. But as far as Deron Holmes goes, his freshman year in college, he did actually shoot 14% from the 3-point line, and that's horrible. But this year, when he left, he got it up to 39%. So that already tells you right there, the kid, he knows how to work, and we'll say work on what he needs to improve. 54% from the field, that's not bad. And then when I see that Denver traded up to snag him, that tells me that they saw something in him too, and I'm sure they'll be able to use him. The kid, he's like 6'9", 6'10", 7'1", 7'2", foot wingspan. And, as I said before, he can pick and roll, pick and pop. He can put the ball on the ground and drive to the basket. He can play with his back to the basket. He can, for what it's worth, he looks like he can do it all. So I'm disappointed that we weren't able to go and snag him. And again, 40% from the 3-point line at this point. Now, obviously he's just slightly older. So as far as development goes, how he improved from 14 to 39%, that can happen to Ron Holland. Guys can improve their jump shots once they get to the NBA, but they have to want to do that. So we'll see, And then Dalton Connect, well, we already know that, man. 40% three-point shooter. Shot 46 from the field, but he's 23. I don't personally feel like him being 23 coming out of the draft is a negative thing. We know the common theme amongst NBA GMs is to draft young. It's almost like a knock on guys at times when they do stay in college longer and they're coming out a little bit older. But I think somebody being a bit more seasoned and NBA ready is a really good thing, which is a part of why the Lakers, quote unquote, have the steal of the draft. And I think he'll fit in great over there and is just what LeBron and company needs. Absolutely. And then Cody Williams, who went 10th, so right behind Ron Holland here, he is 19 years old. So he's young. 42% three-point shooter. 55%, from the field. That's pretty damn good. And he can play defense. And he can do a lot of things on offense. So I don't know exactly what Detroit saw in Ron Holland that made them take him over these other three guys. Even if you scratch DeRon Holmes, I don't know why they took him over Cody Williams. Because Cody Williams, he just went just a few picks back. He had a center and, a couple of guards that went after Ron Holland. But it'll be well, for me, I will definitely be paying attention to this next year and the year after and the year following to see where these guys are all at in a few years. Seeing those stats, the impact, they're having on their team, I will definitely be paying attention because I just feel like this is just another, and it's not to say that he couldn't be great for another team. I'm not saying that, but for what Detroit needs from my stance, it's not another guy who just plays inside the paint as a wing, 6'8". We do need people to space the floor and improve our 3-point percentage. We have, again, another trend in the NBA is what? Shooting. 3 is more than 2. It's not everything, and I'm not a fan of the living and dying by 3 because, you can definitely die from that. We've seen it happen. But, yeah, 25 out of 30 ranked and 3-point percentage as a team. That number needs to go up, and we didn't help it by drafting him. That's all. So that'll be something to watch, as time goes on. We'll see Summer League, that starts here in a few weeks or a couple of weeks. So I will be watching closely. And I think something else, or someone else, I should say, that I and many others will be watching closely will be LeBron James Jr. Congrats to the kid, and now he had already made it clear it wasn't his desire, it wasn't his dream to necessarily play with his dad. And I could see, why that is. He just wants to play basketball. Nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure he does want to, be his own man and stand on his own 2 feet and, all of that good stuff. But I do believe he earned his right to have his name called. We know he didn't play much in college, so I don't think we've seen all of him, obviously, right? He's young, very young. So I think I think everybody's going to be tuned into Summer League this year and trying to watch him. Now, what do the Lakers do with him? Are they going to put him on a 2-way contract? Obviously, you need to develop, and the way that guys develop is by playing in game time. Drills, cones, one-on-one work, we all know that stuff can only take you so far because there's nothing like being in the game. Nothing can simulate that, like actually doing that. So as we know, he's not going to, start with 25 minutes a game in the NBA. So because of that, do you have him in the G League? Personally, from my limited experience, I don't think that's going to help him develop as fast as maybe 10 or 13 minutes a game in the NBA would. I think you could spare a couple of minutes each quarter. I don't think that hurts too many guys on that roster. I really think it hurts really anyone. And you're not asking that much of him, but I do think being there, being with the team in the locker room, practice, I think that those minutes would be more crucial than him having 35 minutes or so, maybe 30, whatever, in the G League, simply because of the competition. Ron Holland. All right, no, he didn't deserve that. But yeah, the competition, obviously, they're in the G League. It's not like the NBA. So even, when it's just a few minutes here and there each at a time, we'll say, in the NBA as opposed to the G League, I feel like it'd be more valuable in the NBA as opposed to the G League. I also don't think that LeBron, and I could be wrong, but I don't think the GOAT is going to want his son on a two-way contract and have him in the G League when he could be there learning from him and the others and truly just emerging himself into that NBA life, the whole lifestyle, I should say, just from your program, your regimen, what practice is like with those real veteran players. The guys in the G League, they are talented. Don't get me wrong. They are there for a reason. They are there for a reason. That is still pro basketball. But for trying to develop him, no, I absolutely feel that in the NBA, even with his limited minutes he'll probably get, I do feel still that would be more valuable than 30, 35 minutes a game in the G League. So they'll work that out, and I think they'll find a way, so he can get his minutes, so he can work on his game and he can develop and turn into that player that they want. Like Rob Pelinka said, he thinks, he'll be a great point of attack guy and, a 3-and-D guy. And no, that's not to say, first game against Milwaukee, they got him in there and he's pressing up on Dame Lillard. Not saying that might be barbecue chicken, man. But Dame is doing that to almost anybody. So for the fans who do watch and do see him guarding, top point guards or top shooting guards, and, a play here and a play there, he doesn't come out on top. Number one, that's just basketball. You're not going to win every single matchup. And that's important to remember. And I'm sure he already knows that. So I'm talking to the fans here. For myself, right? Reminding myself, it's important to remember that. But also, they've been there for years and years. And that, of course, LeBron, he's the GOAT, arguably, right? He's 40, about to be 41 years old. Having that type of longevity in the league to where you can now sit here and play with your son, that's insane. And I can only imagine how he feels as a father, knowing that he is now on the same team as his son. He has appeared to be the model parent, the model husband. He has appeared to be all of those things throughout his entire career from what we have seen and been able to watch from our couches. Specifically, emphasis on the father role. Me, I have a 2-year-old son, and all I can talk about is how I can't wait till he can play sports. And I'm not playing alongside him. I didn't play collegiately or in the NBA or NFL for that matter, because football was really my sport. So I can only imagine how LeBron feels with that about to happen. Just, being literally in the same locker room as him, and he's not there as a spectator. You see the guys, with their kids, bringing them to the press conference. They're in the lap, on the floor. No, this man is literally going to be suited up alongside him and them being able to play with one another and on an NBA floor and NBA regulation game time, not at the crib, and open runs over the summer. That is insane, and we have never seen it before here in basketball. So I LeBron is so lucky, but he definitely worked and earned this right. So with Rich Paul, supposedly calling teams and telling them not to draft Bronny, there's good things to that. There's bad things to that because I'm sure Bronny, if he could have, right, hypothetically speaking, could he have been drafted sooner? And I'm sure he, in the back of his mind, wonders where he would have truly gone, if he wasn't going to go to the Lakers. And that's a good question. Maybe he would have gone 10 picks higher and that could help him. But psychologically, I do hope he understands, and I like to believe he does, because he's a really, really bright young man. We've seen it. And like I said before, like he appears to be very humble and his ego is in check. But I hope that psychologically that doesn't eat him up, that he was a second round pick instead of a first round, because he does not have to be his father. He doesn't have to be as great as his father. And I don't think he's ever felt that type of pressure. Maybe when he was younger, in his mind, what he would love to be, because I mean, why wouldn't you love to be great? Those guys who are playing that sport, Connect, Ron Holland, they're all training to be the best. And at some point in all of these NBA players' lives, the guys who are 12th on the bench, just like the guys who are, the number one starter, the top 10 guys in the league, at one point, the one thing all of them had in common was that at one point in their lives, they were the best on their team. All of them. I feel like a lot of fans don't realize that and realize just how competitive it is to get there. I have a friend who trains players, and I've had the luxury over the last years of knowing him, of playing with some of these guys and just, just open runs, just 5-on-5. And these guys aren't in the NBA. You had a couple in the G League, a few guys go overseas, but those guys they're freaking good. They are freaking good. And guess what? They work their butts off. Almost curse. They work their butts off. And so seeing how hard these guys are training and seeing up close and personal just how good these guys are, I can only imagine the level of talent that it takes for you to actually make it to the NBA. It's tough. And so it's just, it is a respect that has to be given to all of those guys who are in the NBA. Like I said, the guys who are 12th on the roster, to the man, that's, the top of the league. All of them have had that one thing in common, and that's that they were all the best on their team at some point. Now, of course, when you get here or get there, I should say, system, that plays a huge role. That's something I had to learn as a fan watching. And my friend I just mentioned, he really helped. He's a savant with the game, and he really had to point out to me, in the years before now, just the system and how crucial that plays with your role. And I'm asking questions like, you see these guys in the summer, and like we'll say like a Montrezl Harrell. You could go find some, summer tapes of him running up and down and open runs, pulling up threes, turnaround jumpers and stuff, and it's like, why doesn't he do this in the game? Yo, he looks like he could really be good, because all we see him do, rebound, kick it out, rebound, put back, set a screen, roll to the basket. It's because of the system and the team, and that's what his role is. So remember, whoever's listening, if you didn't know that before, know that now. There's a lot of these guys who might seem limited when we're watching them play in the NBA, and they have so much more to the game. It's just the system that they're in and what is being asked of them and told. When you have a Luka and you have a Kyrie on your team, they don't want to see your big behind over here dribbling and trying to do all of that hopscotch and stuff. No, that's their job. They're getting paid to do that. So you get put in a box, and that's where you stay unless, you find some team and they just, we'll say like Detroit. We have nothing, I'll say. Just for the sake of this conversation, we have nothing. So anybody can be anything in Detroit, No one's stopping anybody from, I would say, from being something besides just maybe not being the best place to develop. I mean, truthfully speaking, I watch them. They suck. Clearly. Well, we had the longest losing streak in NBA history last year. Sorry. Ooh, hiccup. But yeah, we don't develop kids well. We've drafted some guys and like KCP, when he left, I'm like, that is not what I saw when he was in Detroit. What he became. I won't say he became a star, but he became, well, a champion. I'll tell you that damn much, right? Over there with Denver. And he was a key contributor. Shooting the damn basketball, guys. Shooting the damn basketball. And here we go, Mr. 24%. Hopefully he works on that. He gets that up. And, he's not afraid to, because, if you're going to improve it, you got to take those shots. And so I'm not going to be mad at watching him shoot threes because that means that he's working on his game. Saddiq Bey, something that I really, really liked about him his rookie year when we first got him was I felt like he was not afraid of anything. He wasn't afraid of any shot. He wasn't letting a few missed baskets deter him from just chucking it up again. But that told me he's going to be really good someday. That's what I thought. Saddiq Bey, he's going to be really good someday because he is not afraid to shoot. Kobe would tell you the same thing. Shoot the damn basketball. He'd rather you go 0 for 30 than 0 for 3 because that means you stop shooting. And why? You were afraid to miss. You can't be afraid to miss. It's a part of the game. You can't play football and be afraid to get hit. That's a part of the game. You can't be in baseball and be afraid to strike out. That's a part of the game. The best guys in baseball, the best, right? Typically, majority, they're still in the 300 batting average. Anywhere else where you have that type of average, that's not very good. But those are the best, and that's what the best looks like. You have some anomalies. Mr. Sohei Ohtani, right? God, that kid is good. But yeah, all in all, I'm a Pistons fan. So, I have to ride the wave. You just got to go with what it is. I see that I have turned this conversation away from Bronny into the crappy Pistons. And, they're frustrated. I'm still upset on the fact that we didn't keep Kevin Porter Jr. when we had the chance. Because I thought he was going to be really good, right? Another USC product. I thought he was going to be really good. But to Bronny, Clutch Sports, the LeBron James family, or the James family, I should say, congratulations. And I think Bronny will be good. I do think he'll develop into a really good player. Will he be LeBron James? No. But fun fact, no one is. So it's not a knock to say that he's not. No one's going to be freaking LeBron James. We've never seen LeBron before, and we'll never see it again. People were, Zion's going to be the next LeBron. Well, he had a lot of hype in high school. He had some great highlights and some great plays when he was at college. And he is not that in the NBA. It's just simple. No one can be LeBron James. Now, what would be wild to see would be if in a few years, right? Because we imagine he's going to re-sign with the Lakers, 2 to 3 year contract. I know for sure he's going to play. Well, I believe he'll play another 2 years, definitely. Maybe throw in a player option, so he can opt in for that third extend. But you have his other son, the next one, Bryce. Bryce is going to be cold. I believe little brother is almost always better than big brother. Look at the Ball brothers. When we watched them first play in, what was that? 2016, 2017, and that state championship, and you really saw Chino Hills and the way they were running, and you see that 14-year-old LaMelo out there playing with Jello and Lonzo, it was very clear LaMelo was going to be the best. Why? He's been sitting behind this and watching and playing with these older kids and his big brothers his entire life. Similar to why Bronny needs to play in the NBA and not the G League. Play against the grown veteran talent. But yeah, Bryce, he's been able to sit here and play behind his once big brother, well, still his big brother, but big brother. Now it's little big bro. And to see his dad, and again, just like Bronny had all the insight with all the other guys that LeBron will have around and hang out with, and can kind of pick their brain and watch their game. Bryce is being able to do that too. But now he's going to have even more insight because now his big brother is in the league. So he can watch all of that unfold and pick apart all of that stuff so that he can use it to his advantage when his time comes. But he will absolutely be drafted, truly drafted in a few years. And that would be, I don't even have the words to describe what that would be if LeBron somehow was still here playing at a high competitive level with his other son coming into the NBA. Now, last year, LeBron had a great season. His averages were great. It's like there's no real fall off or dip off from anything like that. But I do think, of course, if he's going to make it that far, like 3+ years, they're going to have to cut back his minutes a bit. Just a little bit. You can't be in that 35, 38-minute range. I mean, unless he can, I don't know. Unless maybe he just can't, because that's just what that man does. But at some point, your body's got to give in and just say like, hey, man, we can't do this anymore like we used to. I don't know how he does it. God dang it. If you're like me, I'm 30. I told some guys at work, I'd have to stretch now. That was something that changed for me over the last few years. When I'm hooping, I got to stretch because I don't want to pull something. I want to make sure my ligaments are, nice and loose, not tight. Them quads and hamstrings, all of it. And that wasn't something that I had to do when I was 18 or 19. Of course, younger than that. No, you can go out there and just fresh out the car, put on your shoes, get onto the court, no warm up, no stretching, and you're running for 4 or 5 hours. And you're still ready to run after that. Now the sessions are done, the lights are out. But you could still go, another hour if you wanted to. You wake up the next morning, you feel fine. Not happening today. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I could still give you a couple of good hours, and then just, do the thing maybe in hour 3. But I promise you, I'm stretching. That's the one thing that will be happening. I gotta stretch. So, yeah, again, congrats to LeBron James Jr. Congrats to all of the guys that got drafted. Now the next big thing will be free agency. What does all of these teams now do now that the draft is finally over and now it's time to, add to the roster? Pistons, I don't, again, like a Paul George. I would love to have Paul George come over here to Detroit, but Paul George isn't coming to Detroit. He's not. That's just the truth of the matter. He's not going to do that. Battle, but maybe I don't see the Lakers signing him either. But who I think the Lakers should go for, and I think that this would help the team. DeMar DeRozan. He's an unrestricted free agent, and I don't think they have to pay him an arm and a leg. They'll definitely have to pay a little bit. They'll pay a little bit. But they won't have to, with him being a free agent, there won't have to be any like picks or anything like that they need to get rid of and we'll say possibly hurt themselves moving forward that way, since he is a free agent and they can just sign him. So I would like to see DeMar DeRozan in LA, and he's from LA, so I say they look at that. I mentioned Clay before, just kind of playfully. I don't think Clay is done in that sense of him and his ability to shoot. The lack of athleticism, he wasn't really ever really athletic, but I do think his defense took a hit after the injury. And last year, I mean, he still shot 39% from 3, and that's the lowest, or the second lowest, we'll say, from his 13 seasons he's played. That's not bad. Will he go to Detroit? No. Again, none of these guys are going to freaking Detroit. But another guy, since they couldn't fill this void with our boy Zach Edey, who I did want to see the Lakers take. He got snagged at 9. But you still have Jonas Valanciunas. I hope I pronounced the last name right, but you still have him out there. He could be a great addition to the Laker team. He could help out. You see reports and rumors about a trade to Atlanta, to get DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella. I like the Clint Capella pickup. I don't know how DeJounte would fit with that roster. He can guard, obviously, multiple positions. I think he may have led the league in steals. His defense is top notch. And his offensive ability to score is really good. He has a great mid-range, but he's not a three-point shooter. And the thing and that's just what it is. It is still about LeBron. It's LeBron and company. And LeBron needs shooters. So D'Angelo Russell, he said last night, this is, I'm recording right now, it's Saturday, 6 a.m. But he had said last night that he was going to be opting into his final year with the Lakers. He'll be getting $18.7 million. But in his words, I love what JJ is about, and I really see myself thriving under his guidance to help win at a high level. So that there are a couple things there. One, it sounds like JJ is already winning over some of the guys in the locker room. Because if D'Angelo is feeling this way, I know a few of those other guys are. Now, whether everybody will be here at the beginning of next season, that is to be determined. Because I'm sure they're going to move around some guys for trades. I don't know what they really do because I feel like they are kind of guard heavy. You have Gabe Vincent, Spencer Dinwiddie, another Piston product, by the way, guys, who is not on the Pistons. But when he left, boy, did he look good. But that's neither here nor there. But like Gabe, I don't know. I personally didn't see them do what you hoped that they were going to do when they came to the Lakers last year. And definitely in the playoffs, as Mr. Ham and Cheese, as my friend refers to him, Darvin Ham, because he's going 9 deep on the freaking bench and stuff there in the playoffs where I don't really think you should be, but he was, and they were out there doing a whole lot of nothing on the court. So I don't know. We'll see. Austin Reeves, he apparently was kind of a part of what would have sealed the deal with Atlanta at the trade deadline last year, but the Lakers weren't willing to give him up. Rightfully so. But do you maybe now consider giving him up now that you have Dalton Connect? Is that an option? Do they use Dalton as a trade piece? I hope not. I do think he's there to stay. I'm sure Austin Reeves, they're going to do everything in their power to keep him too, but I do think now with adding Dalton Connect, they might be, if the deal is right, maybe more willing to part ways with Austin Reeves because they have Dalton Connect to maybe bring in another star. What stars can they really target? Like, I don't think they need another superstar. I don't think they need a big three, but you definitely need a guy who like a DeMar DeRozan. He has a name for himself in the NBA. You know what he's about. Real seasoned vet and who wants to compete and will help you win. DeMar DeRozan. A superstar? KD? Nah. We know KD doesn't want to go to LA and play with LeBron. As great as that would be to see, but hey, we'll be able to see it in the Olympics. That's where we'll get that action in the Olympics. He's not going to go to LA. They're not going to make that. I don't think Phoenix would make that trade anyway. And I don't know what they could put together to trade for him. And again, that's where it comes into the hurting them for the years to follow because you're going to have to give some first round picks and, a couple of pieces that might be key pieces to your team, like a Rui and Austin Reeves. You need those guys. And as far as depth goes, I don't know. Is Vanderbilt, is he a worthy trade piece? I don't know. Donovan Mitchell. That's a superstar. That's a guy I would love to see. Donovan Mitchell in freaking Detroit. But yeah, if you had Donovan Mitchell in LA, I think they are immediately some real contenders for the championship. And in the West, they're going top 3. They move from, the 7, 8, 9 spot, that play-in spot. They go up to top 3 if they were to get someone like Donovan freaking Mitchell. And then at that point, what are we doing with D'Angelo? Well, actually, I guess Donovan, he could be it too. They'd make it work. They'd make it work. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm over the Pistons. It's just, you just have to just sit back and just watch this dumpster fire over there. It's been a long time since we've seen success. It's like the last time we were in the playoffs, I think it was like that 2016 season. We had Blake Griffin. Shout out to Blake Griffin. He made us great again. Got us to the playoffs and we got swept. Personally, from what I recall watching those games, I blame Reggie Jackson for us getting swept because I felt like we were in each of those games against Cleveland going towards the end of the games, and then Reggie Jackson would just shoot us out of the game. Years later, he's on a Denver Nuggets roster, and he plays his role there well. When he was in Detroit, when he made that stop, that visit, obviously he was, we'll say, one of the main guys, one of the key contributors, and I think Eagle got a bit of him because I felt like Blake should have had the ball in his hands more. Even though Blake didn't want to dunk in Detroit, he only wanted to dunk once he got out and went to Brooklyn. That again, don't need to talk about that. God, man, I don't know, man. It's like people go to Detroit just to end their careers. They don't want to give us their all. It's just not a good place, which is why we have all these young kids now. You got James Wiseman, Marvin Bagley, good guys. But Deron Holmes, the second. Gosh, dang it. We could have had him. I'm really curious to see how that kid will do in Denver. Gosh, dang it. Denver's trying to make a push. I'm telling you right now, they are trying to make a push. They don't want to see what happened this year happen again next year in the playoffs. They don't. And I think Deron Holmes is going to be a key piece to the freaking puzzle for them. Jokic is going to have fun with that. Hey, yo. But that's going to be a good roster to watch. But we'll see. One more guy who could be a good free agent pickup for the Lakers and what they need. And I know I talk a lot of Lakers, even though I'm not a fan. See, the thing is it's like paying your ex alimony. You have to support them. You don't want to, but by law, right? By the contract there, what the judge says, you have to support them. Now, LeBron never played for Detroit, but for the sake of this conversation, make him the ex, okay? I got to pay alimony now to the Lakers because LeBron is there and that's my GOAT. And I want to and got to support him wherever he goes. And so inadvertently, the Lakers, not LeBron. The Lakers are getting the alimony, okay? They're getting the child support. We have to support them if LeBron is going to do well. Okay? So the last person I would mention that I think could be a good piece for that team, Hartenstein. That boy from New York. I think he showed people this year and especially in the playoffs just how useful he really could be. Him expanding his game and just really, he played a big role there in New York, but they're bringing in, they just major trade to bring in Mikal Bridges, Villanova University over there. Was Mikal really worth all of that? I'm gonna say no. Personally, I think he's a great ball player. We saw what he did in Phoenix. He's a great wing. Great defender. He can attack the basket. He can shoot. He can do all the things you want out of a guy. But I don't know. I don't think he's worth 4 first-round picks. No. But hey, they're there and I'm here. OG Anunoby, he's intending to re-sign and come back. And then of course you still have Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson. So where does that leave Hartenstein? There's only one ball to go around. There's only so much money to go around. So that's another guy who's good, who's young, who probably could be of use to the Lakers and do a lot of things for them, a lot of good things that I think they would like out of a center. So that's another guy who I think, we got to look out for, go out there to the Lakers. pivoting from basketball to the best sport around, football, and not football, but football Americano. Are we going to get Brandon Ayuk to the Steelers or what? There's been so much fluff around him just floating around this whole offseason and trying to get him to the Steelers. I don't know. Like, are we really pursuing, a trade for them? Who do we give up if we're going to get him? But Brandon Ayuk is 100% the best receiver on that freaking 49ers offense. I think he has some of the best route running skills in the freaking NFL. Route running. We know there's great receivers and better receivers than him, right? CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. But when it comes to route running, I think he's top freaking 5. His cuts and his routes are crisp. Very. And it's really like if you go and you just watch, just humor yourself and just go and watch just specifically Brandon Ayuk highlights where the camera is just focused on him. Don't even watch the catch. Just watch him get off the line and get to his spot. It's like poetry in motion. It's textbook what you want to see out of a receiver and their routes. Not everybody has good route running, and not every good receiver has great route running. Like his man on the other side, the little jackal, the wild card in San Francisco, Debo. His route running is trash. I said it. It's trash. Again, I'm acknowledging that he's a great player. He can do a lot, and he does a lot for that offense. We know that. But if you look at his route running, at that route tree, it's honestly, it's piss poor, to be honest. But they get the ball in his hands, and that's all you need to do. You just need to get the ball in his hands, and he'll make magic happen. So at the end of the day, you're not really giving a damn about his route running like just the average person watching the game. This is just because I love to watch football and break it down. I'm the guy who, when I'm watching football, they just threw an 80-yard bomb. That receiver, made a couple guys miss and he scored. And I'm like, did you see the running back pick up that block on the weak side? Did you see on that run how that guard pulled and got to that spot to kick out that end? I'm watching all those other things. So to that point, yeah, love Brandon Ayuk's route running. And if we got him into Pittsburgh, I'm telling you, it's a wrap. It's a freaking wrap. And you think he can't help George Pickens get better? George is already nice, right? But he's still got a long way to go as far as what his true talent could be in a maximizing standpoint. Oh, he's nowhere near done yet, right? He's nowhere near done. He hasn't even really had a real quarterback throwing to him like consistent. Oh gosh, right? Gosh, dang it. But hey, it's a new year. We got our boys. We got Russell. We got Justin. Like I said, I hope Russell wins the job. I love Russell Wilson. Always have liked him as a quarterback. I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. I do not think he was a problem in Denver. I don't at all. You can watch the tape. You can watch the games. Look at how quickly that O-line is getting through. Now the average football play is 4 seconds. It's probably even slightly less in the NFL just because of how quick that game moves at that level. But he's running for his life. And some running backs can be great with a bad O-line, but not many. But the one thing that I would say the great quarterbacks have had in common when they have their great seasons, they have good O-linemen, at least a few. They don't need to have a star-studded O-line, from top to bottom, from tackle to tackle. Maybe not. That's hard to do because great O-linemen are hard to come by. But you'll never see a quarterback go off and have a great season with a bad O-line. That just doesn't happen. You have to protect the quarterback. You have to give them time. And that is something that Russell did not have in Denver. Now, I'm not saying he's about to come to Pittsburgh and have an incredible O-line, but I do know those are some things that we addressed this offseason. Our O-line, because our O-line was not great last year. As I'm saying this, no, Kenny sucked. It wasn't the O-line. Kenny fucking sucked. Oh, pardon my French, people. He sucked. But this will be exciting to watch. Still, still got the off season. Preseason starts up in a couple of months. Can't wait to see us in action. But yeah, we'll see how things go. So, to wrap up here, welcome to Detroit, Ron Holland. Prove me wrong. And forget me, right? Prove everybody else wrong, because I know I'm not the only one feeling this way about us drafting him. But I don't doubt his ability to play the game. He's there for a reason. He was in the G League for a reason. He was the number one scouted or number one ranked kid coming out of high school. So I know he has skill. I'm not doubting that. It's just, like I said, does it fit for the Detroit Pistons and what we need to get better? That's all. But he's explosive as hell. He's jumping out of the gym. So he'll be good in some ways. I just, it's all those other things that he'll have to work on, and it's his life. He'll have nothing but time. And of course, we did just bring in that assistant coach who I thought was going to be paired up with Monty, but apparently not. But he helps develop people's jump shots. So hopefully, he'll help him and the rest of our team. 25th in the league. So everybody has work to do. Everyone. We'll see what the Steelers do moving forward. We'll see if we can land him or another big name receiver, because I know our GM wants to bring in another big name receiver. Help out Russ, help out Justin, whoever gets that job. And so yeah, shout out to Team USA. Hopefully they get the gold and they get the job done. And lastly, congrats again to Bronny. He'll know, I'm sure he knows how special this is. But just like all of us as kids, when in multiple scenarios, when your parents say, you'll see when you have kids of your own, whether it's how protective you are, whether it's how passionate you are about something, or, when you're scolding them. That's right. That's what they always say. You'll see when you have kids of your own. And I've already seen so much just in the couple of years that I've been a parent. I'm absolutely seeing that as I have kids of my own. So I'm sure he will enjoy it and really, really appreciate this and really see this as a blessing. But I don't think he'll be able to fully grasp the gravity of this until he has children of his own. Now that might just be me speaking as a parent, right? Parents, right? Us entitled parents thinking we know stuff, right? What do we know? No, but for real, he'll truly, truly know once he has kids of his own. And that I will never get to experience, but I do think I'll be able to experience that excitement of seeing your kids, of course, go through life, being successful, being there for their ups and downs, and just rooting for them. Our parents are our biggest supporters, despite, how it might look at sometimes, it doesn't always come out the way that you want it. And that's something I've seen as well. Like I said, there's no handbook, but enough of all that mumbo jumbo. Thanks for tuning in, people. This is episode freaking 5, a game time chat. And like I said, I'm going to work on some things to spice this up and make it a little bit better, get a jingle or something. My younger sister told me I need to get a jingle. I'm like, I'm not sure how, but I'll figure it out. I'm going to work on that this weekend and just some other things, but I'm out. You guys take care. Have a great day, whatever you're doing. If you're driving, drive safely. If you're at work or going to work, have a great day at work. Just have a great day. Life is short. So just, do your best to be happy as best as you can in your situation. Every day being alive is a blessing.